Maharshi's Global Family Chat. News of rising invincibility around the world. This is the news everyone needs to understand how the trends of time are changing towards peace and prosperity. Maharshi's Vedic technologies, transcendental meditation and its advanced program Yogic Flying are being implemented globally. Just the square root of 1% of the population practicing yogic flying together in a group is enough to raise the levels of harmony and coherence in the collective consciousness for the whole population. Enjoy the news of enlightenment dawning for every individual, invincibility for every nation, and peace for our dear world.
Jai Gurudev. Dr. Peter Swan, Minister of Communication, has asked that for this evening's Maharshi's Global Family Chat, that Raja Felix, Raja of Invincible Switzerland, and myself speak about our recent tour. And first, I would like to mention that I have had a really wonderful 2 weeks here at the global capital, the international capital of the global country of world peace, at Meru in Holland. It's really such a beautiful place. It's truly a pilgrimage spot on this earth, so saturated in Maharshi's silence. It's very moving and very nourishing to be here. And I, for example, had the fortune of being here for the day of Deva Prabodhini, the day of the awakening of all the Devas, and to sit here in Maharshi's Brahmastan and be able to listen to the Maharshi Vedic Pandits with their red cloaks, Chudamani Pandits, reciting, and hear the ones from the global capital of Ramraj at the Brahmastan of India, and all the great enlightened leadership who live here, Rajas and mothers of the domains and ministers, just having the experience of just diving deep into the reality of the constitution of the universe, the Ved, in terms of the awakening of all the Devatas. And it's just one item here out of the whole year of the grand cycle of events that take place in Maharshi's Peace Palace and in this beautiful campus. And to look out as I can right now outside, and the whole of Maharshi's garden is sparkling with little lights, and the gates and fences as well. And whenever walking out of Maharshi's house, to look ahead and have a kind of shock that the old building, the haunted house, is just gone. And there's just a beautiful open field now, ready for the building of the full complement of structures to house the international capital of the global country of world peace. It's very, very sweet here, and if you haven't been for some time, you should definitely come here and enjoy for January 12th, or take one of the many, many courses that Dr. Grishma Mayaji and his team organized to be going on round the year right here. I also very touched living here in Maharshi's house that in the evening, very often 3 different things are going on right next to me. Right now it's happening. I think they're studying Sanskrit in this room here. On this side, there is the advanced course of Maharshi Light Therapy with Gems, with 23 participants from 14 countries who have collectively done 25,000 treatments of Maharshi Light Therapy with Gems. And that program is such a powerful program. I got to enjoy it myself also while I've been here 3 times. And We heard in the Invincible America Assembly the other day someone describing their experience that as they were lying and enjoying the beams of light through the different gems like diamond and emerald and ruby and blue sapphire and yellow sapphire, that they actually became the light itself, and the light was curving back upon itself and creating waves of health in the physiology again and again. So it's very significant that these outstanding practitioners are here, and for a few more days now, hearing from all the great leaders, from Dr. Rolla and Iris, but also from Raja Hagelin and so many other great leaders of Maharshi's Global Country of World Peace. And then, of course, here in this room, we have Dr. Swan bringing out all the very special news in Maharshi's Global Family Chat, as Maharshi had directed him to do day by day. So the whole thing is so lively, so rich with knowledge, and really fascinating. A great atmosphere, many Purusha here also, Mother Divine here also. Many of our great souls from India are here looking after everything. So it really is just very, very rich environment. Also, I enjoyed yesterday meeting with the younger leaders who are here working on volunteer staff, and quite a number from Slovenia. That's very impressive. And from Romania, I think there were 2, and from Germany, and from the United Kingdom, from England, and from Scotland, from Latvia. Wonderful, young, dynamic people, very full of energy and very devoted people. And I so much enjoyed spending time with them as well. So what a great place this is. It's just a pilgrimage spot on this earth, and a place that everyone must visit sometimes. And I think it's so important that we visit again and again and be in the presence of the really saintly people who are carrying on Maharshi's legacy with perfection here in the place where he lived the longest in all those years that he was working, and where he finally was able to live in Vastu. Remember what he said when he moved into this house. He said he felt as if there were no walls, as if he was open to the whole cosmos, that there was no restriction anymore on creativity, and that if he'd had a place like this building earlier, the whole thing he was doing would have gone so much faster. So this is my first reflection, just so grateful to have the chance to be here and to be able to come back again and again and again to Maharshi's home. In September, as I think most know, I retired as president of Maharshi University of Management after 36 years as president, and I took on the role of global president of Maharshi Universities of Management in the world, as well as, of course, continuing in my role as Prime Minister of the Global Country of World Peace. And I did it because I truly felt that Raja Hagelin, with his leadership of all the programs of Maharshi in the United States, is capable of bringing a level of support to this incredible, precious university, the flagship, the origin of all consciousness-based education in the world, to a new level, with informing all of the some 30,000 people a year who are learning transcendental meditation in the US about what they can gain by coming to be students at the university, or just moving and living there and being part of that spectacular environment of knowledge that has been created by Maharshi in the heart of America. After the ceremony on September the 12th, Founders' Day, soon after that, I started touring again. And my first stop was in New York City, and I'm very grateful to Donna Brooks for welcoming me there and organizing all the teachers, most of them young teachers, who are teaching in New York City. And I was so impressed, for example, that Rita Teubman, one of the young teachers there, has taught over 1,000 people in the last 5 years. And all the teachers there teach a lot. I know, for example, Raja Bruce Plout and Kim, who are the Rajas for Sweden and Malaysia and other countries. Their son, Cecil, taught 225 people there in 1 year also. So the young teachers are just teaching dynamically in this extraordinary city, New York City. I was very struck sitting in the lobby of the center on 26 Beaver Street, just around the corner from Broad Street. It's a center that's properly oriented to the northerly direction for the entrance, a big glass front on it, like a big store. And they're just very active teaching. And I was listening to somebody speaking to a person on the phone who wanted to learn right away. And they were having to say, well, actually, we're completely full up this weekend. I'm sorry, next weekend we're also completely full up, like that. 3 weeks from now, they could get a slot to learn Transcendental Meditation. So this is the reality of teaching in New York City, and it's very impressive what they're doing, and on a very high level, and very devoted young governors, and led by Donna Brooks, who's doing so well, and also Mario Orsatti, who's working with the top leaders, business leaders and other leaders in the city. So that was very fulfilling. From there I went to Puerto Rico, and I met there, I was only able to stay one night, but I met with Rosie Martinez, our national director, and many may remember her as a professor of Maharshi Open University as well. And she is maintaining a very strong and progressive activity in Puerto Rico. From there I went to Dominica. Dr. Peggy Palms, mother of the domain, had been particularly keen that I go to Dominica. I've been many times before, back in 1978 and 9, I was traveling around the Caribbean in a small plane, a Cessna Centurion, for the cities courses, and Dominica was one of the places I used to go. And so I had a wonderful time in Roseau, the capital. They have an excellent center, Transcendental Meditation Center there, and Dr. Lucia John is the really devoted leader there, and she is just an inspiration. She is a great example to any teaching governor anywhere in the world. She has done such a good job, and she's got so many, everything that Maharshi ever aspired for every nation. Lucia is working to get that done for her population in the island of Dominica. From there I went to the Dominican Republic, to Santo Domingo, and met Alberto Amengual. He gave me the DVDs from when he interviewed Maharshi back in the 1970s. He is very famous in the Dominican Republic. He's had 50 years as the primary political interviewer on the Sunday television, interviewed all the presidents, for example, of Dominican Republic. And he had organized a school a long time ago, and that was not able to continue, but that property he's still very carefully looking after. So I met him and also his board. From there I went to Barbados and via Miami, and met Dr. Suresh Chatrani, who is leading the way there, and he organized with our full-time governors there that we meet one of the government ministers, and his reaction to our presentation was that he should learn Transcendental Meditation himself. He said, I need it badly, and he said I should introduce it to the leaders of the prisons and of the reform school for the teenagers. So that was a very successful meeting there in Barbados, the beautiful island of Barbados. And all this was leading up to the visit to Trinidad and Tobago, which I think Raja Graham has already described to everyone. Maharshi came to Trinidad and Tobago some 50 years ago, and my understanding was that Ina Mahabir, she was on the teacher training course in 1966 in India, and she convinced Maharshi to come and give the first introductory lecture there in Trinidad to open the way for her to start teaching. So Maharshi did that. He came, he spoke at the Himalaya Club, and he introduced Ina Mahabir to the population. And then from that point, the teaching of Transcendental Meditation began not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but from there it spread to all the other islands of the Caribbean. So it was a very significant event. And there was really there were so many highlights to that visit. We visited Swami Brahmadev, who has been a very key figure working with Raja Luis in enlivening Maharshi's programs in India. He's from India, but though he lives in Trinidad, and his daughter Ananda, who took sannyas, and he are constantly traveling to India and helping out in every possible way to inspire the leadership of India to really understand how completely different Maharshi's program is and how effective it is to produce all kinds of change that nothing else in the world actually achieves. So we visited him in his place, and then the events were in the ceremony congratulating Trinidad on the 50th anniversary of Maharshi's visit were very rich, and particularly Mrs. Margaret Bolt from Jamaica, who is the principal of the Holy Trinity School there, gave the best lecture on consciousness-based education that I've ever heard, because she described how she had come to, and there's video of this now available, she had been sent to the worst school in the country, basically, where there was all absenteeism and no studying and violence and fighting and drugs and everything. And she described how she had tried everything. They brought in motivational speakers and they tried different kinds of training. Nothing had any effect. And finally she thought she would try transcendental meditation after a Jesuit priest recommended it to her. She asked the Archbishop there, a Catholic Archbishop, because it's a Catholic school, if he would support that, and he said, just go for it, just do it, Margaret. So she introduced it, and to her amazement, things happened that were just like a miracle. The worst student in the school became one of the school prefects. The 23 worst students were gathered in one class, taught transcendental meditation, and had a meditating teacher, and they went from the worst to above the best class in the whole school. Things like that. When you hear her describe it, and her own awe at what happened, it was very, very moving, very profoundly moving. So that was tremendous also. And from Trinidad, I went via Barbados to England for the inauguration of the Maharshi Peace Palace in Rendlesham in the Maharshi Garden Village. Already there are 39 houses and 24 apartments in Maharshi Garden Village. And it was such a beautiful sight, this building. You can't imagine how beautiful that building is. Everyone should go and do a course there. Already Rajapita just finished a lengthy course on total knowledge from Maharshi, one of the first courses in the building. But the 30 bedrooms and the big grand meeting halls and the dining hall and professional kitchen and big yogic flying halls and the beautiful look, the Vedic decoration of it, it's just superb. It's really just magnificent. And Rajapita's leadership and the motivation of everyone there in the community to do everything and give every penny they had to build it was just inspirational. Rajapita, we all congratulate, and all his people there in the Maharshi Garden Village and beyond, who really made this amazing building, which I believe is about a £6 million building, rise up right next to all of the Vastu houses of the village, Maharshi Garden Village. Now, as you may have heard, they have getting some land next door which can have 75 more houses. And then they hope to keep expanding like that. And they have been using all the different technologies to support. For the very first time, not only did the building have the proper Vedic opening with Maharshi Vedic Pandit coming from Holland and Maharaja especially there to bless the occasion. But they had a special yagya I don't think was ever done before, a 21-day Maharshi yagya for the building that was because of the royal nature of that particular building, a very special quality. And this on the grounds of what was formerly a US Air Force nuclear bomber base. Now it's gone from that to this beautiful center of peace for the nation. And it's really a great example. One of the wonderful stories they told, I think Rajapita told, was that there was a very nice man, meditator, who'd been helping out the center in London for many, many years. And he knew he was going to be not continuing in the world, so he sent word that he was leaving something for the Maharshi Peace Palace. And they thought that was very sweet of him. And they thought maybe he would leave £500 or something like that. It turned out to be £2 million. And that was the actual key in the finances, along with the marvelous group who managed to get money from the bank also, that allowed this marvelous building to be completed. And with the 3 new maisonettes around, including Maharshi Ayurveda Clinic. And so the whole thing was done just to the highest imaginable standard. Aikiji felt that even Vastu itself, for such grand public buildings, had reached an entirely higher level than ever before. And I think Maharaja was very fulfilled to come and be part of that experience of the opening there of the new Maharshi Peace Palace in the Maharshi Garden Village in Randosham. So I enjoyed that enormously. That was so good. So glad to have been invited. I got to spend the night also with also Aikiji, spent the night. First night it was opened, and it was very deeply silent, powerful, strong, stable Vastu experience. One of the examples of their amazing organizing power there in that group was that the first thing that has to be done is to boil the milk when you open the building according to the Vastu principles. In the kitchen, that's the first time the fire is turned on in the southeast corner of the building. And they did that, and only then could they start cooking the lunch for everybody. And in the next hour, they cooked lunch for 120 people and served it in the dining room. So there were so many phenomenal things like that were happening. After England, I went to France. I went to Marseille and Toulon. Yves Pass had been very kind to welcome me and organize a meeting with some of the siddhas and meditators in that beautiful part. Marseille is a very ancient city, and I enjoyed seeing that, and Toulon also. And then I went on to Nice, where Anne-Marie Rouzer, who was a helper in the EEG lab, an assistant researcher with Dr. Renata Devi Hartmann in the 1970s. She is teaching there very actively, and I was very happy there that 3 doctors were amongst the participants in the meeting in Nice, and one of them, a young Italian doctor, Anna Maria Bombardieri, Dr. Anna Maria. She is an anesthesiologist, and she has become very enthusiastic to do research on transcendental meditation using her medical knowledge and using a particular kind of brainwave study, which is to do with Doppler. It's a new kind of system that is non-invasive. So she's looking for some collaborator to work with her on that who has access to that kind of equipment. But this is the kind of thing. It's one of the reasons it's so good to go around, I find, is that you just experience so many good people everywhere who just want to take full advantage of Maharshi's knowledge and will become the future leaders of the scientific world and the future leaders of the transformation of the earth. So I enjoyed that very much, to be in Nice. And from there I went to Monaco, and Michel Plantier, who is teaching there. He also teaches in other places in France itself, but he comes to Monaco and he teaches, and he was describing how he teaches in some of these spectacular apartments. That Monaco is a very, very rich place. I think a lot of the people who supposedly live there don't really live there, so a lot of it is empty all the time. They just have an address there. But the wealth is just out of this world. You could hardly believe the boats that were lined up in the harbor. Each one, I'm sure, $30–40 million boats, and scores of them all lined up like that. So we had a nice look around, and we visited the hill where the palace is and the cathedral and so forth, and had the view of the whole city. And he's doing his very best to teach more in this top level of the society of Monaco, which is not people from Monaco so much, but people from everywhere in the world who are looking for a tax break. So Michel was great, Anne-Marie in Nice was great, Yves was great, so I thank them for all of their kindness to me and looking after me. And from there I took the train from Monaco to Milan, and Roberto Baitelli, the long time teacher of Transcendental Meditation there, organized an excellent meeting in Milan, and again, great enthusiasm. People are very enthusiastic and really just fascinated by all that is happening in the world. I always try to explain all that is happening in Latin America and India and Thailand and China and everywhere, all over all the new construction of the Maharishi Peace Palaces in England and Germany, and now in Istanbul one is coming up and so forth. So all of these wonderful structures and all the amazing news from Maharishi University of Management and the spectacular experiences of the Invincible America Assembly. And I tried to show videos from all the different schools and slides of all these different places and people. And I think people just, when you put it all together over a couple of hours, people really are almost overwhelmed and just dumbstruck by the magnitude of what Maharishi has been able to do, and to do so many things that were really never possible. I mean, the things that he has been able to change in the world that could not have been considered as possible to change over hundreds or even thousands of years. It's a marvel to witness what Maharishi's greatness is. There, Raja Felix and I met up, and I'll pass over to him in a moment, but to explain the rest of it. But we went together to Verona, which is another city in northern Italy, near a great lake, and an ancient city, another ancient Roman city, and where so many of the leaders of the Italian global country of world peace come from there, including Raja Mariano and also Raja Yor. Both the Rajas come from there. And it is a beautiful city. And the group there, this goes back, they had a very strong center there going all the way back into the 1970s. And they were just really enthusiastic group. And I always encourage them all to take the cities, if they haven't, and to become teachers, if they are not, and to build Maharishi Peace Palace, and go to India, and go to MUM, and go to Vlodrop, go to Holland, and do things, get out there and take advantage of it. And you really felt the response. It was just wonderful to feel the enthusiasm of that group in Verona. Raja Yor organized the whole thing so nicely, and we thank him very much. From there, we went on to Slovenia, to Ljubljana, the capital, and to Maribor. Then we went to where we were welcomed by Andrei Rus, the amazing national director, one of the most dynamic leaders in the whole world movement. And we went on from there to Zagreb in Croatia, where we were welcomed by Vedran and Dragan. And then we went in Croatia also, to Zadar, where Dr. Mladen, the new teacher, and the other teachers gave us a beautiful welcome and a wonderful meeting. Then to Split, where we had lunch by the sea there with Snezana, the teacher there, before going on to Mostar and Sarajevo. In Sarajevo, we had great meetings. I'll let Raja Felix explain. But Dr. Suad is there, very keen, and also General Alia, who has his own very nice college. So Bosnia is coming along. We also visited the Bloom School with an amazing director who's kind of Belgian and American and everything together, and married to a Bosnian famous movie director. Her name is Majalis, and she is truly one of the most dynamic people I've ever met. And joining us also there was Natasja Cicic, is a young teacher of Transcendental Meditation just from February this year. She's only 25 years of age. She's the daughter of Branko Cicic, the longtime national director for Serbia. And Natasja is teaching all over the place. And she is truly a hope for the whole future of the Balkans and for the whole world, in fact. She's such a precious young teacher. She was introduced to Maharshi, I think, when she was 1 year old here in Holland. And she's just grown up so beautifully under the direction of her dear father and her dear mother, who have nurtured her to be really a very enlightened young governor. So she was really a wonderful help to us in every way. And then we came to Belgrade, and I didn't mention Majalis' school had introduced Transcendental Meditation in Bosnia, in Sarajevo. And then we came to Belgrade, where Branko Cicic had organized a meeting for 120 people, and that was very beautifully done. He has also had many breakthroughs. He's quite famous there because of his explanations of Maharshi Ayurveda on television and his convincing the government to recognize the certification of Maharshi Ayurveda consultants in this system. So that's how far I got, and then I came here, and then Raja Felix went on to Romania and Moldova. And I must say that to travel with Raja Felix is quite an experience. Raja Felix is fantastically dynamic. I absolutely cannot keep up with him. He travels and does everything at such a speed, such dedication, and he really inspires the people, the governors and the siddhas and the meditators, wherever he goes. And he's amazing in how much he knows, like hundreds and hundreds of people by their name, and greets them with wonderful warmth and consideration. And he really gives such great attention to all his domains, which are very numerous, actually. He has a lot of domains, more than most of the Rajas do. So it's very impressive, and I just don't know how he does it. He's just amazing, and it's really a privilege to be able to go along while he's driving and I'm sitting. He's managing to do all these amazing things, and organize everything, and look after me also at the same time. So, Raja Felix, I would now pass over to you, and you could say more about the Balkans trip and then on into Romania and Moldova. And please give us your latest news and insights into what you've been doing during these wonderful weeks of your activity. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you very much, Dr. Bevan Morris. I must say, from my side, it's an incredible honor to travel with Dr. Morris. I feel very close to him. In these long travels, we get to know each other deeper and deeper and better, and I just have pure admiration for Dr. Morris. And wherever we went, people feel really blessed that he is coming. that he's bringing to them the latest news about what's happening in Maharshi's movement around the world. The videos he shows, the photos he shows are absolutely inspiring. They are the latest which are available in our organization and show all the fantastic work done, particularly by Raja Luis, but by so many other Rajas, national directors and governors. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Morris, very, very much for coming with me on this tour. Actually, I should say it the other way around, that you came and did this tour. Here we see a first photo from Maribor in Slovenia. And this is a Maharshi Ayurveda store that has opened there a couple of months ago. And we see when we look from our side to the left of Dr. Morris in the front, this is Andre Mayes, our great champion of Maharshi Ayurveda, very popular on television together with his father and sister. And behind him is the wonderful Dr. Surabh Sharma, who has come from Maharishi Ayurveda products in India to give consultations in Slovenia and afterwards also in Hamza. And he was totally thrilled by what Dr. Morris presented during that event. Today, I'm right now in Ljubljana. I spent today some time with Andre Mayes, our Ayurveda champion, and he told me that Dr. Surabh said, after this meeting with Dr. Morris, after this presentation, when he returns to India, he will do a lot of things differently, because he was so inspired to see what's happening around the globe. He himself is a student of the Maharshi school in India, and so he's full of vigor and drive to bring those blessings to India more fully. On this picture, we also see quite a number of governors, all of them in Maribor, 1, 2, 3 governors, and the others are siddhas and meditators. From Maribor, like we already heard, we went to Zagreb, Zadar, Split, and what I would like to show you now is Sarajevo. In Sarajevo, Professor Suat Kurčahić, he outed himself this time completely that he would like to become a teacher of transcendental meditation and would like to introduce Maharshi's program, including yogic flying, in all parts of the society in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The first thing, basically just shortly after we arrived in the short meditation, he took us to his TV studio, a TV studio, where he was the main presenter, and he had invited to join that Dr. Morris joins him, that General Alia Ismet joins him, a meditator, that his daughter joins him, and myself, and dear Natasha did all the translations. And for 1 hour, he was basically interviewing us about all the profound principles that Maharshi has brought to light, starting naturally with transcendental meditation and the advanced techniques, group yogic flying, pandits, brahmastan, everything on television for 1 hour. So that was a great event that he had organized. And then the next day was just full with meetings from morning till evening, with TV crews there, going to the private university of General Alia Ismet, who is committed to create a large group in Bosnia to secure the invincibility of the nation. This photo we see now is at his university, which are all from Bosnia. It's those who presented on television, those who have come to the presentation in the afternoon, to the general public and TV. Then at the university presentation, and in the evening we had also group meditation at the university there, all very well attended, everything recorded. So it was a great event in Sarajevo, and I was very happy to hear from Dr. Bevan Morris that he had been there with Maharaja in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, and had presented that time already to the population Maharshi's program. Now, from that place, from Sarajevo, we drove to Belgrade, which is quite a long journey without much highway. And in Belgrade, like Dr. Morris already said, it was such an incredible, warm welcome, having 120 or even more meditators, siddhas, and many, many governors assembled there to hear from Dr. Morris the wonderful developments happening around the globe. And I was thrilled. I was simply thrilled to be with such a large group. We meditated all together. It was a wonderful event organized by, as we heard, Dr. Branko Cicic, but also the National Course Office and so many others. And yes, I should mention our dear Natasja Cicic, the daughter of Branko, who is such an incredible translator, but also an incredible speaker. Very forceful, very convincing, full of energy, a real delight to work with.
We're seeing this group of us just before we went on television. I think we're seeing General Aliyah, Dr. Suad, his daughter, and you and I think just before we went into the interview that night. Yes, I think this one is still in Sarajevo. It's the public lecture in Sarajevo. And this is also the public lecture in Sarajevo. And this is meeting with General Aliyah in his university just after we spoke to the student body there in the law school. I think this is probably the political science department of the university there, which Professor Dr. Suad is a major leader, major professor. Keep going. Yes, this is that lecture in the Institute of Political Science. Keep going. What that one is?
Yeah. Yes, this is, like you said, Dr. Morris, the next step was going to Romania, and in Romania we had 3 stops. The first one was in Timișoara, in the very west and southwest of the country. From Timișoara to Bucharest, where there was a wonderful meeting with a large group of meditators. And then from Bucharest on to Piatra Neam. And what we see in the slide now is in Piatra Neam. This was wonderfully organized by the cousin of a student at MUM, Dr. Morris.
Yes, Laura Weghi is from Romania. She is a lawyer, a Romanian lawyer, who emigrated to the United States. She came first as a student to Maharishi University of Management, and then she was able to stay on. And she is now one of our youngest trustees of Maharishi University of Management. She's married to Dr. Chris Weghi, who many of us know is one of the long-standing great leaders of Maharishi's worldwide movement. And so Laura comes from there, and her father is still there. Her mother, dear mother, passed away a couple of years ago, but her father is still there. And so she has all her relatives, and through them I think she organized the meeting, which I was also delighted to speak to by Skype.
The 2 organizers, particularly on the very right, we would see the main organizer, together with our dear national director. In the green jacket, that is the national director, Nicola Stoian, who has been teaching in Romania already in the 90s and is extremely dynamic in the country, traveling long distances. Romania is a fairly large country. He travels long distances in order to have in all the major cities groups of meditators who then organize themselves for group meditation. A real wonderful soul, completely dedicated, and has inspired already, I think, at least 2 Romanians to become TM teachers.
And Raja Felix, Here in Maharshi's Brahmastan, there is one of Nicola's initiates from Timisoara. So you want to turn the camera and show? And he is a veterinarian from Timisoara, and now he's one of the volunteer staff at Maharshi European Research University. And he is a very enthusiastic person who wants to bring the light of consciousness to veterinary science as well as all the other sciences. So he's a great inspiration here. And you are the initiate of Nicola, right? And Nicola was instructing you in Timisoara. Jai Gurudev.
All right. Very good. I should also mention that the son of Nicola is on Purusha, and he is an exemplary Purusha, completely, totally focused on his program and on his life of dedication to enlightenment. Wonderful family. If we could move on to the next slide. This is reaching now Moldova, and the capital there is called Chisinau. It was my very first visit to Moldova, and next to me is the wonderful, wonderful Dr. Angela Sulian. She is from Armenia. I had invited her to come to Chisinau because she had started the movement in Moldova. Maharshi used to call her the mother of Moldova. She has initiated thousands of people in Moldova. She's inspired 22 young people to become TM teachers in Moldova. And I must say, it was incredible to see how she was welcomed. She hasn't been there for maybe 20 years, or something like this. And when she came to the hotel, she was received by so many meditators with so many flowers. She hardly could hold them all in her arms. And they all embraced her and kissed her and were just beaming with joy to see her back in Moldova.
Yes, we see you talking to a group at a big table.
And thank you very much, Dr. Morris, for giving me your slides so I could show them to the assembled people there. I had invited the meditators for lunch into a nice hotel. And during the lunch, we already had a number of talks. A number of people expressed their great gratitude to Angela, particularly to Maharishi, for all the blessings they received. The food was very surprisingly delicious with basmati rice and so many other great things. And after the lunch, we then had a group meditation with a little bit full stomach and enjoyed all the great videos and slides from the success around the globe. I was then taken, this is a group photo taken after the presentation. In the middle in white is a wonderful Mother Divine who has spent a lot of time on the Mother Divine group in the Ukraine and has a group of meditators come to her house to do group meditation every day. Here we are at the private university. This is the rector who decided to introduce transcendental meditation at this university. And I hope that Angela will soon be able to come back to Chisinau, and start that project. It was all organized by the other Angela, the lady in blue, who is working at that university, a very strong meditator, wonderful, powerful soul. If we go to the next slide, then at the same university, we were addressing the students. Again, I must say, I was delighted to see the interest, the openness of the people of Moldova, of the young generation, in the knowledge that Maharshi has brought to our world. And I then had a number of meetings with the meditators and siddhas, and they're going ahead now to open a TM center again after a long period. And we'll be starting with basic promotion of TM first, and then move on to establishing groups of people meditating together, and then more siddhas to join again. So it's a restart to some extent. And I'm glad that there are many TM teachers who are actually ready, willing and ready to start the activities. So that was my last destination. I'm on my way back now to Switzerland. And again, I would like to thank Dr. Morris for the incredible inspiration he has brought to the countries in my domain. And a number of them told me that they feel really blessed to be in the presence of Dr. Morris, even just to drive him to some places. They felt even the car got blessed by having Dr. Morris in the car. It's sweet. It's very sweet, the admiration which is there for the lifelong dedication of Dr. Morris and for all the great accomplishments he has to his credit, and for his extremely heartfelt and warm interactions with everyone. So thank you very much, Dr. Morris, and back to you.
Thank you, Raja Felix. What a beautiful, inspiring presentation. And I wanted to mention that the Chipikas are here from Ukraine, but you're also Moldova as well. Do you want to say something about it? We just heard all about Angela came back from Armenia to visit Moldova, and Raja Felix had invited her. So would you say something about it too? So Raja Felix is listening.
Jai Gurudev, Raja Felix. We are so glad to be connected with you. We are living in Ukraine at the moment, but Nadia is from Moldova, and she was taught by Angela, so they are very closely connected. They have connection on the level of heart, and Nadia is the first teacher from Moldova. Angela is from Armenia, and she was working for many years in Moldova so successfully. So Nadia was the first governor in Moldova, but it happened so that she left Moldova to have courses in Ukraine. She took TTC there, and then she stayed and was divine for several years. So the activity in Moldova was quite short, but very good and successful also.
Could we show the picture again?
Yeah, Nadia, I was very delighted to see old photos that Angela showed me when you became a TM teacher some 20 plus years ago. And she's so proud of you, and I'm very proud of you. I know that you are returning to Chisinau quite frequently. You give light therapy with gems and inspire people in their program together with your husband. But it was a delight to see your photos as a very young TM teacher, really beaming with light, and like you do always, but it was really a joy to see.
Yes. Say something.
Yes, thank you. And I wish that in Moldova we can start again this big activity and many initiation, and all our courses what available in my Maharishi movement can be enlivening the consciousness of Moldovan people. Yes, and I want that again we have this big group of meditators and siddhas, and together we can do program and create heaven on earth.
Very good. Beautiful. Very nice. So, thank you, Raja Felix. It's so good that you are taking care that Moldova will rise again to the great heights as before, and there will be a beautiful radiance of pure consciousness from Moldova to the whole of the area and the whole of the world. So your visit there was really so significant, as it was in all the cities in Romania that you visited as well. is so much you're looking after, and all the cities, you're looking after everyone so nicely, and it's such an inspiration to see your work as truly the Raja in Rajate, Raja consciousness, looking after and nourishing all your people with Maharshi's knowledge. It's beautiful. And I would just mention before we close that I go to Bologna on Friday for a World Peace Assembly in Italy, then to Singapore and Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur on the 26th of November has the inauguration of its beautiful new Maharshi Peace Palace, and Raja Bruce and Kim will be there, and Raja Vikram and his whole family. And all the governors from the region are gathering to celebrate this beautiful achievement. And then I'm going to Bangkok to stay with Raja Vikram and Varaporn, and then to Hong Kong, and then back to a course that Maharaja is holding in the United States. So that's my upcoming plan. So thank you very much again, Raja Felix, and this was a very enjoyable Maharshi's Global Family Chat. And let's complete our session today by ringing the bell of invincibility. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Heaven on earth, heaven on earth, heaven on earth. Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Light of God is bringing heaven on earth. Gurudev's grace is bringing heaven on earth. Heaven on earth, heaven on earth, heaven on earth. Light of God is bringing heaven on Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Heaven on earth, heaven on earth, heaven on earth. Heaven is descending, descending on the earth. Heaven is descending.